Hey guys, what is up? Kevin Cage back with another cryptocurrency video. If it's your first time to the channel, for daily news and info in the digital asset space, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get right into it. So to start things off with Cryptomaniac 101 at _crypto_maniac_. Again, I'm not going to say I believe with this sentiment, but I do want to share this, and I do reference Apple and Amazon stock performance. Again, they were one of the early internet stocks, and everybody, even CNBC, NBC, all these news mediums used to say, stay away from these internet companies. They are very volatile and they're all going to zero. It's a scam. Do not invest in the internet. It's a fad. Email's not going to, things of this nature. And again, look where we are. Against all the doubters, against all the naysayers. I know there was a bunch of volatility in these early markets. And, Amazon, I believe it hit a high of like 2K. I know. So as again, right here, Amazon was around $7 in 2001 and over $2,000 a few months back. I don't really agree with the serves no use case. However, it's valued greatly. I get what he's saying though, in terms of an actual use case for the stock. But of course, you can't really compare apples to oranges because these digital assets, these cryptocurrencies are completely different than the traditional stock market, especially in terms of market capitalization. I think the market capitalization of a lot of the digital assets are going to be 10x, 100x, maybe even 1,000x the size of a lot of stocks in the stock market because of how much money there actually is in the world. And again, market capitalization does not mean that's how much money is in the actual digital asset. It means what it's valued upon on the order books. It's simply a market, supply and demand. It's an agreed arbitrary number of what someone's willing to buy for or pay for it and sell for it. So in reality, there was a huge study when I believe it was, just Bitcoin? I'm trying to remember the numbers, but even when the market capitalization, I believe it was the study by JP Morgan, when the market capitalization of the cryptocurrency market was maybe $300 billion. The actual amount of net inflow of money in the market to pump it to that 300 bill was actually only about 6 billion. That is insane to me to see that difference. So again, remember that, and that's one of the many reasons why I personally believe that this market will be valued in the trillions of dollars. I think XRP alone will be valued in the trillions. And I'm talking about market cap. When I'm talking about specific price per coin, I cannot really say, but it's much higher than it is now. Tremendous upside. And, if you're, still concerned with digital assets, you think it's some scam or pyramid scheme, that's fine. But I just remind you to look at it just like an Amazon or Apple stock back in the day and find your piece of gold, because there's tremendous upside. This market is nascent. We are just getting started. And it's my belief, based on the regulations that are coming and the products, the trading products on exchanges and the attention that it's getting with Bakkt and ICE, the Intercontinental Exchange that, owns NASDAQ. There's a bunch of institutional involvement and interest in this space. Now, a lot of you are down based off price performance. Don't get me wrong. When I see red, some days I'm like, what? Enough of this. It's been trending sideways. We've been at 30 cents forever. I feel like it's like a 20-month bear market. I'm ready to see changes. That just means you haven't been through enough, bull runs. Because when you remember that feeling of a bull run and you're seeing your investment 3x or, 5x, 10x long term, it's one of the best feelings ever. And that's why I simply just accumulate, buy when I can and hold, because I'm taking that risk and I see the long-term potential. And I think there's going to be a lot of projects that succeed. But again, I think that we're going to be encountering some bumpy terrain in the future with regulations. I think that a lot of the BS projects of the 2,000 digital assets out today are going to get hit hard by regulation. I think a lot of them will disappear. Some potentially, lower in rank without actual use cases and true teams behind it will disappear entirely. Maybe there's going to be some exit scams. I'm not trying to create fear, uncertainty, and doubt. This is just my opinion, not financial advice by any means. But again, that's what I foresee. All right. Next, King Solomon at XRP_owl. So petrodollars may license, utilize XRapid. Now this is older, but then again, the PDX coin, the petrodollars and ERC20 token on the Ethereum blockchain went live August 6th of 2019. So we have these sources here. And again, we can check them out, but again, I'm just gonna use the screenshot that he uses. So again, talking about Ripple, back in the day, of course, it's funny that XRP was called Ripples, released in 2012. Ripple purports to enable secure, instantly, and nearly free global financial transactions of any size with no chargebacks. You guys get the gist of Ripple and XRP. If you want me to do a video, an intro video, I can, but I, need to see a lot of comments requesting that for all the newcomers. But again, right here, and this is an older document. And this is right here. This was, what year was this? This was back in 2018. All right. So as we can see here, petrodollars may license and utilize Ripple's proprietary X-Current global interbank rapid messaging platform in order to effect global payments and transfers in rapid real-time and cheaply. Petrodollars may also license and utilize Ripple's proprietary X-Rapid, which utilizes XRP, that may enable petrodollars to more effectively be exchanged for fiat currencies cheaply and rapidly in real time. And right here, Signal Capital Management, wholly owned by the Switzerland-based financial holding company IKB Holdings AG, is a New York-based investment firm. In February of 2018, in conjunction with their sister companies, we launched the new PDX coin, globally compliant digital currency project, beginning with a private coin placement, PCP, to accredited investors to raise up to $20 million in development capital. And that frustrates me so much that all of these huge projects are only available to accredited investors with, a high net worth. It can be frustrating for a lot of people, but that's why I like digital assets, because it's truly open sourced and it'll create that level playing field, and it gives, everyday people a chance. PDX coin is an ERC20 token that has been built on the Ethereum blockchain. The development of its attendant coding and smart contracts was completed in late July of 2019, and it went live on the Ethereum blockchain August 6th of this year, so literally last week. And then you can view the address as well on Etherscan. So pretty cool. And then again, we got the links right here. Even Digital Asset Investor. I have no idea how you guys find all this. And again, much respect for all these guys. XRP Darren, King Solomon. All these great researchers. I am Legion, again right here. Ian Northing, XRP Nuts, Stort_XRP, Bank XRP. I mean, there's so many more, but you guys are seriously... You don't realize how much of a difference you're going to be making in the future, because for those that are patient and actually hold and control their emotions, I think they're going to walk away very, very wealthy people. Not financial advice. Next, XRP lawyer. Official intimation by Federal Bank India to BSE and NSE stock exchanges of its partnership with Ripple Inc., the corporation. So objective. For cross-border transaction and to explore new corridors. As we can see here, Federal Bank right here, the listing department, the National Stock Exchange of India. Right here, this is to inform Federal Bank has entered into a partnership with Ripple Inc., a blockchain-supported global remittance company for cross-border remittances through its network. Powered by blockchain-enabled solution, the Ripple platform ensures cross-border transactions much safer and secure. The partnership will help Federal Bank to explore new corridors where Ripple is aggressively pursuing new partnerships. In a meeting held today, Federal Bank MD and CEO Mr. John Mitchell, Senior VP of Ripple, signed the agreements for the partnership. Very, very exciting, guys. I don't see other projects that are doing this day in, day out. The whole upside of this project is unbelievable. They're actually laying the groundwork. They're not worried about price at this time. They understand that they're going to create the strongest foundation, lay the rails, and then when the trains start moving, they're going to fly. And that's my personal belief. And of course, right here, Ripple and XRP. Ripple signing 100 new contracts this year, and 20% will likely involve XRP. No doubt. And as we can see here, Garlinghouse says banks that Ripple approached 2 years ago are now interested in the company's XRP-based cross-border payment solution, XRapid, which utilizes XRP, of course. Is kind of redundant to say. But again, remember, Ripple's entire strategic plan was to onboard customers with, XVIA to get that standard interface, to use Xcurrent for the messaging, get them used to, RippleNet, the software suite of products. And then their whole goal, their secret sauce is XRP, which is by far the most superior product. They're working on building that liquidity. The more liquidity it has, the more valuable the network then becomes. Makes it that much harder for a competitor to come out of nowhere. Everybody that has FUD and succumbs to this doesn't really realize this network, this ecosystem. All these groups, whether it's a DTCC, banks, FIs, they're all looking for a decentralized platform to create these benefits. And I'll go over that in a little bit as well. Right here, CoinDesk. Analysts at investment bank Goldman Sachs have recommended that investors should capitalize on the current price dip and buy Bitcoin. Why? I'm cynical. I'm skeptical. I don't believe, Goldman Sachs and all these people are telling, when they tell you to take advantage of it, it's because they want to. They have a vested interest. I think Goldman Sachs is one of the greediest organizations in the game. Even if you see other people, this perfectly aligns with the short setup we're waiting for. Sounds like they're about to dump their bags on us. Just interesting to see. So I'm pretty cynical here. I'm not sure if we're going to be expecting a little drop again, but again, we're that much closer to, backed and everything in between. And I definitely do see some upside with Bitcoin, just because of that name brand. But I think that, speculators are going to be getting it. I'm curious about the actual use case. It's not a bad idea to hedge. Perhaps Bitcoin will, skyrocket in 10x again. But in my opinion, I just want to hold the majority of my holdings in something that's forming partnerships, working with regulators, and actually has true utility and can scale as well. Not financial advice. Maybe Bitcoin will outperform XRP this year, but eventually it's not going to. In my personal opinion, XRP will far surpass anything in terms of market cap and price potential. XRP_Anderson. So for those of you that don't know, we're just quoting and talking about Miguel Vias. So he is, again, the head of XRP markets at Ripple. So he talks about, and this is back in 2018 when Miguel Vias actually talks about this. He talks about making XRP as liquid as a G10 currency and then have a cookie and get back to work. G10 would mean daily volume of over $100 billion. With 100% of the remittance market, they would have $2 billion daily volume. So I'm sure he knows these numbers like the back of his hand. He made it sound like a short-term goal to make XRP as liquid as a G10 currency. With only remittance, this would be far, far from the goal. Therefore, they are likely to plan to target much bigger markets sooner. And again, from 2018, and as we can see in this next, right here, Miguel Vias has said that he will have a chocolate, or a cookie, whatever, just a little treat, when XRP is more liquid than a G10 currency, then get back to work. The 10th is the New Zealand dollar, with roughly 2% of the total foreign exchange trade volume, meaning 2% of the daily $5.3 trillion transacted, equals approximately $106 billion in daily volume. That's a short-term goal for Miguel. All right, head of XRP markets. As we can see, New Zealand accounts for 2%, just to get you a little taste, and I really do like that. And again, here's the original post shared by Dylan, Dillon. And so, just again, Miguel Vias saying this back in April of 2018, when XRP is more liquid than a G10 currency, I'll buy myself a chocolate chip cookie and get back to work. And again, XRP_Anderson says, what will you buy when XRP is more liquid than the ocean? And that's very, very true. So I found that comical. Next, this is very, very interesting, guys. I really actually am going to end up reading through the majority of it because this is so relevant right now. I think that this information needs to be out because, again, what's going to happen for all of you XRP holders is whatever. No one's going to be believing you. No one's paying attention. And again, once XRP hits $3, $10, so on, and starts growing drastically, all your friends are going to be hitting you up saying, oh my gosh, you invested in that. You're right. And it's going to be too late for them. And I want you guys, and us included, I want to learn from you guys as well. We have to understand the technology, the applications in the future, because I follow the fundamentals. And again, if you're a technical analyst, whether you follow cycle, analysis, anything, it can all be viable. But for me, I'm just following the fundamentals, and that's all I'm going to base it on, because I cannot tell you what the price is going to do tomorrow, especially in such a new market. So right here, blockchain DLT are expected to have a transformative impact on the financial sector. Experts discuss what this means for industry players and end users. Cryptos and underlying blockchain DLT are being touted as the next big thing after the internet. Absolutely. They're expected to change the world as we know it across industries. Experts say that one area where these technologies are likely to have the maximum impact is the financial sector. Many well-established financial operations, they note, could be completely transformed and restructured. There will be improved transparency and auditability of business practices, as well as lowering of transaction costs. Further, these technologies hold the promise of a new native digital asset class with massive potential liquidity. Hint, hint, I think XRP will have the most liquidity. Blockchains have the potential to displace any business activity built on transactions occurring on traditional corporate databases, which is what underlies nearly every financial service function. Any financial operation that has low transparency and limited traceability is vulnerable to disruption by blockchain applications. DLT is therefore both a great opportunity and also a disruptive threat. And I think it can, absolutely help. But again, with XRapid, it's going to, in my belief, create a level playing field. Perhaps the tier one banks and all these credit card companies aren't going to be liking this. But again, this is going to be solving a great problem, and the problem is greater than the actual profits that these top tier banks are receiving. So eventually everyone's going to actually have to fall in line. All right, right here, conducted a literature review on cryptocurrencies and DLT for the Swift Institute. Based on this literature review, the Swift Institute has recently issued a grant to conduct new research on DLT and cryptocurrencies in the financial sector. And again, points out that the financial services sector is full of intermediaries, like banks, for instance, who help create trust among transacting parties like lenders and borrowers. Blockchain, he says, is a mechanism to create trust without centralized intermediaries. The power of eliminating these intermediaries, these middlemen, is the ability to lower transaction costs and take back control from powerful financial intermediaries. Regarding cryptos, he points out, forget the typo, that most of the value today is tied up to speculative buying rather than actual use cases. The long-term value lies in lower transaction fees, and this is one man's opinion again. Also, having a currency without a central minting authority offers certain unique kinds of protections, especially in countries with troubled central banks. Venezuela's currency is rapidly losing value, even the Argentine peso, of course, as we've heard yesterday, due in part to actions taken by the central bank. For people who stored their savings in crypto, there is greater protection to such rapid currency devaluation. Of course, cryptos have their own instabilities, but they aren't tied to actions by central banks, and that's particularly relevant in countries and economies where citizens do not trust their governments and central banks. As we can see here, and this woman, Angela, offers another perspective. She points out that there's a lot of excitement about DLT, or blockchain, in the financial sector because many believe that the technology offers a better, more efficient, more resilient form of record keeping as well. And remember, DLT, blockchain is essentially just a fancy word for a database or, ledgers. But there's a bunch of use cases. Guys, you would not believe what I just did. So I'm literally recording this video and reading this, and there's a fly that just flew past me, and I just caught it in my hand and crushed it. Gosh, Kevin Cage, that cool guy on Twitter. Shout out to Digital Asset Observer. Follow him on Twitter. But anyways, I digress. However, making the use case of DLT blockchain is not as simple as just buying new software and running it. Blockchain technology is, at its core, group record keeping. To reap its full benefits, one needs all the relevant members of the group to join the system. This requires collaboration, teamwork, with and across businesses, which is a potentially big hurdle. I think it's the biggest hurdle. And again, may be the hurdle that most limits adoption. Absolutely, I agree with that. As we go down here, these are the last three. This is very important, guys, and I hope you're not falling asleep on me. Stay awake. Bitcoin has shown that the fundamental security of its proof-of-work system is sound, but it has major limitations such as limited scalability, massive energy usage, and concentration of mining pools, which in my opinion makes it much more centralized. There has been massive theft of cryptos from the centralized intermediaries that most people used to hold it, and massive fraud by promoters of ICOs, initial coin offerings, and other schemes. Manipulation is widespread on lightly regulated crypto exchanges. For example, roughly half of BTC transactions are with Tether, which I stay the hell away from Tether. It's a stablecoin that claims to be backed by the US dollar, but has never been audited as involved in highly suspicious behavior. A lot of people can make tons of money day trading back and forth between these stablecoins. I don't care. It's not worth the risk. I'm not losing a penny. So money laundering and other criminal activity is a serious problem if transactions do not require some check of real-world identities. There are major efforts to address all of these risks and vulnerabilities. Some are technical, some are business opportunities, some are regulatory questions. There must be recognition among cryptocurrency proponents that maturation of the industry will require cooperation in many cases with incumbents and regulators. And one of the last ones here, guys. So again, he cautions that while decentralization offers significant value and for a transaction to be treated as valid, a significant number of miners or validators must verify that transaction. It is still susceptible to collusion. If one or few companies running lots of miners, validators, nodes, and a small network collude, they can affect the sanctity of the network. The big risk with cryptos, he adds, is that most activity as of today is ultimately tied to speculation. As of today, it's important, he says, for cryptocurrencies to discover a killer app soon so that there is some underlying value created beyond speculation of its future value. And I would tend to agree. And again, Here's an example of a killer application for actual value. MoneyTap, right in Japan, transactions in a matter of seconds in the palm of your hand, quoted by Brad Garlinghouse. Right in Japan, it is a peer-to-peer app, and this is one of the many applications. Again, Ripple's not just making up use cases, they're doing real-time settlements. And remember, settlement is way below the application layer. This is actually settling the money, freeing, actual trapped money, and just being on-demand liquidity, utilizing the one and only greatest digital asset, XRP. All right, we're going to finish off with this. Very, very interesting, and this is like trillions of dollars, guys. If you look at the DTCC, you could say, in terms of money settled, it's like $1.4 quadrillion per year. But let's be a little conservative and just talk high level. Again, it's not mentioning XRP, but I just want to talk about all the money that's in the space and why you can speculate that digital assets will succeed and have a very, very high market capitalization. So the DTCC soon to go live with TIV DLT Phase 1, IBM plus Exani plus R3. We already know R3, I don't need to repeat, hopefully. We can see this timeline. I know we've gone through this before, but again, as we're nearing 2019, TradeServe and TIW DLT Phase 1 goes live. And you guys know that these groups, it's so hard to get everyone to work together, everything in timing and, synchronization. So it's not, it won't be a surprise if things get pushed back even further. But if we scroll down here, Matthew Linney goes on to share. So we got the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation, DTCC, the premier post-trade market infrastructure for the global financial services industry, today announced that it has advanced to its testing phase of its groundbreaking project to re-platform its credit derivatives Trade Information Warehouse, TIW, Trade Information Warehouse, on DLT and cloud. In this phase, 15 of the world's largest global banks are conducting end-to-end structured user acceptance tests, leveraging simulated use cases and test data and validating the interaction between systems, firms, and other key market infrastructure providers, including MarketServe, which we've talked about, and its new platform for credit, TradeServe, which we've also talked about, thanks to Matthew Linney in the past. Upon successful completion, DTCC expects to move in open testing phase by the end of the year, when other market participants and service providers will have the opportunity to then test. Testing is anticipated to be completed by Q1 2019, will go live scheduled thereafter. Again, this is use cases further validating DLT, some of the biggest movers in money transfer organizations. This is literally like a global clearing house, and they're working with DLT. They're still going to have to send value. Right here, the TIW DLT success story. You can read a little bit about that. And then really quick one I want to talk about, go live in May 2018 now. So again, it was another delay across 95 countries, 50K accounts, moving from a traditional mainframe system with a relational database to a distributed permissioned blockchain technology. And it's a lot of speculation it'll be right with R3. All right, and as we can see here, so look at the bottom of this highlight. It says 9.9 trillion of cleared and bilateral. And now here it says approximately 10 trillion of cleared and bilateral credit derivatives. So this is the credit derivatives market alone, $10 trillion. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, meaning bilateral. That's a lot of money needed. And again, we have to consider multiplier effects. We have to consider people holding. I know a lot of people say, oh, XRP is not going to move until we get all of the, escrow amounts out. I kind of doubt that. I think it's going to move beforehand. But again, once all that escrow is truly out and in the hands of these big buyers, that's when we're really going to see some price movement. All right, and as we scroll down here, King Solomon again at XRP_owl. They're integrating with Axcore and also supporting R3. Axcore integrated with Consensus Truffle. Consensus Truffle just announced support for R3 Corda and Hyperledger Fabric last week. Guys, these things are happening right in front of our eyes, and people aren't talking about it because too many people are just listening to the news about buying Bitcoin and if it's a scam, and listening to Kevin O'Leary. Listen to the guys that know what they're talking about. Listen to the researchers. Listen to the fundamentals on the back end. And again, Exani's Axcore blockchain in Q4 of this year. All of this documentation is out for grabs. I mean, and these guys are doing a phenomenal job researching. Truffle is integrating with Axcore as it seeks to expand its enterprise-grade solutions, according to a Forbes report. Truffle announced upcoming dev support for Corda, Hyperledger Fabric, and Tezos. All of this, I mean, I'm telling you guys, it's simply a matter of time. For all of you that maybe, I'm guessing a lot of you have, came into crypto in 2017 during the bull run, or maybe at the very end in 2018 when everything started coming down. You maybe, bought XRP or some digital asset at a high value and you're sitting at a loss. And maybe some of you got in and, you might be in the green a little bit. But again, we are just getting started. This is not traditional stocks. This is not a traditional 401k. You're not going to be looking for 10% or 20% gains in a year. You're going to be looking long-term, creating generational wealth, whereas your investment, we're not talking 10 or 12%. We're talking multiples, like 5x your investment, if not way more. Some people have 1,000x their investment, meaning for every $1,000 you put in, that'd be $1 million. That's insane, but it's not far off. And I don't want to give you guys, incorrect expectations. I'm sorry if it's full of hype. I just am very excited for what this market has to offer. And I think that we are just getting started, whether this happens in a month or whether it happens years and years down the road. I'm here. I'm going to keep covering this as much as possible. I mean, come on, I'm pumping out videos with a full-time job during this bear market where prices have literally been at like all-time lows for this year. And it's emotionally taxing, I get it, but I am just so motivated. I'm confident. I know I might have confirmation bias, but just follow what's happening and be patient and see what Ripple, the private company, is doing. See what R3 is doing with its Corda platform. Look at these huge high-end partners, and that's why I'm excited. That's why I'm not going anywhere, guys. So with that, be sure to hit that like button. It helps the channel grow and spread awareness. And again, hopefully more speculators join the space. It will help us. It might not make a difference in price per se, which is fine. But again, it's all going to bring us up. The supply, 100 billion, people say it's a lot. Susie made Esoteric Trading Solutions, made a great video today about when you're transacting quadrillions of dollars, a quadrillion is 1,000 trillion. When you're transacting this much money, what is 100 billion really enough? No. Compared to these other projects, yeah, it's a large circulating supply, but XRP is not like other projects. We're tackling a huge, massive problem with potential to actually move quadrillions per year. And if not, and if we only do, 1% of that or even only move trillions a year, that's fine, because you guys have no idea the price effect that XRP will have to go to be able to handle those transactions. That's why I'm confident. We are just getting started. Regulations are coming each and every day. We're seeing that, and I am just excited to be a part of the space with the XRP army. So thanks so much, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.